Okay, today we're going to talk about division of fractions. And there's a strategy I want to teach you for doing the division of fractions. And it's called keep, switch, and flip. And basically what we're going to be doing is finding what's called the reciprocals of multiplying. And then we're going to use multiplication of fractions to solve. And this is the rules. First, you're going to change any whole number or any mixed number, that's the whole number with a fraction, into an improper fraction. Then you're going to use this method of keep, switch, and flip to find the reciprocal of the second fraction. Only the second one. Don't do this on the first fraction, but the second fraction. Then, if you can cancel using the top and the bottom of your fractions, any top, any bottom, by the same factor, you're going to want to do that to simplify and reduce. After you have reduced or canceled as much as you can, you're going to multiply the numerators, then multiply the denominators. And then step 5 is to make sure that you have totally reduced as far as you can go. Okay? Now I have put these steps in your packet. If you look on page 2 of your packet, you will see these steps are listed here. Okay? On page 2. So you don't have to write them all out. Go to page 2 and you'll see them. So, step 1, write any mixed number or whole number as an improper fraction. Well, let's review how to do that. First, if you have the whole number 13 and you want to make it an improper fraction, you're just going to write 13 over 1. Then, if you have a mixed number, remember a mixed number has a whole number and a fraction. How do I make this mixed number improper? How do I do that? 2 times 4 is 8, so you take that product of 2 and 4, and then you add 1. So that'll give you 9 over 2. You keep the same denominator. So you take the denominator, multiply by the whole number, take that product, add it to the numerator, and keep the same denominator. Any whole number, I don't care what the whole number is, to make it improper, just put 1 underneath it. The value stays the same, but it helps balance out your equation. Again, to make a mixed number improper, take the denominator, multiply it by the whole number, get that product, add that product to the numerator, and keep the same denominator. So this is just a review of what we've already done. Okay? Any questions on this? Right? Now, let's practice finding what's called the reciprocal. The reciprocal is just the opposite switch. Basically, a numerator and denominator are flipped over or reciprocated. They change positions. Now, here's the logic behind it. Why would we want to invert and find a reciprocal to solve for dividing? This is actually what we call a shortcut, and it helps us get to the answer more quickly. Dividing by a number is equivalent to multiplying by its reciprocal. After all, dividing by 1 is much easier than dividing by a fraction. So when you use that reciprocal, you've built in the 1, and you can go ahead and divide much quicker and easier. So you want to learn this strategy of keep, switch, and flip just to make your division of fractions easier. Now, if the numerator and denominator switch places in order to have a reciprocal, what is the reciprocal of 4/5? They switch places, what would it be? Hello?
2/3.
For 4/5?
Oh, 5/4.
5/4, okay. What is the reciprocal of 9/2?
2/9.
2/9, okay. And what is the reciprocal of 13/1?
1/13.
1/13, okay. So the reciprocal is just the numerator and denominator switching places. Now let's review cancellation is your friend. Remember, cancellation is a really nice method to use to simplify your fractions as much as you can before you actually multiply them. So remember, in cancellation, you take one top number and one bottom number. It doesn't matter which top and which bottom, as long as they both are divisible by the same factor. So when I say divisible by the same factor, that means that number, there's another number that's a factor that goes in both the top number and the bottom number, and it goes in evenly with nothing left over. So what top and bottom could I use to cancel in this problem here? What can I reduce? A top and a bottom by the same factor.
Maybe cut 9 and 18
I could do 9 and 18. I could also do what?
and 440
4 and 40. And I could also do what?
and 4 and another matrix.
No, I could not 4. I could do 4 and 40. I could do 9 and 18, top and bottom.
Yeah.
Or I could do 18 and 40, because that's still a top and a bottom. 18 and 40 are both divisible by 2.
Yeah.
Okay? So any top and any bottom that can be reduced by the same factor evenly. Okay? So what I did was I took 4 and divided it by 4. Then I took 40 and divided it by 4. So that's my first top and bottom that I did. Now at this stage, I could still do 9 and 18, or I could do 18 and 10. So I decided to do 9 goes into 9 once, and 9 goes into 18 twice. Now even with all of this cancellation, this is my third one I'm getting ready to do here, I can still do 2 and 10. 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 10 5 times. You want to cancel as much as you can, top and bottom, by the same factor that will go into what's left over evenly. So this is a method you really want to practice and do. You had several pages of this in your assignment last night for multiplication. And you want to continue to use this strategy even in division, because our division is going to be multiplication. We just have to set it up as a keep, switch, and flip first. Any questions on the cancellation? Taking a top number and a bottom number, reducing them evenly by a factor. Okay? So after I've canceled as much as I can, I look at what I have left and I multiply the numerators and then I multiply the denominators. So 1 times 1 is going to give me 1, and 1 times 5 is going to give me 5. So my final answer after I've canceled this is 1/5. I check and make sure that 1/5 cannot be reduced any further, and it cannot, because 5 is prime, and anytime I have 1, I know I'm done. Okay? So I'm finished with this as low as I can get it. So now let's take another look at this process. Let's say that I have the whole number 5 that I'm dividing by 2/9. What I want to do is I want to make the 5 improper. That's the first step. So that will become 5 over 1. And I'm still going to have 5 over 1 divided by 2 ninths. All I did was change the 5 to 5 over 1. Step number 1. Then, step number 2, I want to keep the first fraction, which is 5 over 1. I want to switch the operation from division to multiplication. Now, what allows me to do this and make it multiplication is what I do with the second term. So this is switch the operation to multiplication. I'm going to flip, which is basically take the reciprocal of the second fraction. You only take the reciprocal of the second fraction. This allows me to multiply because I'm flipping the numerator and the denominator's locations. So you're going to remember this little saying here, this little phrase. Keep, switch, flip. And what that means is keep the same fraction, the first fraction, keep it, just like it is. Switch means to change the operation from division to multiplication. And flip means to use the reciprocal or the inverse of the second fraction. So think of flip as inverse, reciprocal, changing of places for the numerator and denominator. Now, once I have a multiplication statement, I use whatever I need to use to solve that multiplication statement. Is there a possibility for me to cancel here at all? Is there a top and a bottom that I can cancel by the same factor? Do you see a situation where I can cancel?
Not in that case.
Not in this case. So I'm just going to multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. The numerator is going to be 45 and the denominator is going to be 2 because I couldn't reduce anything. But I can't leave my answer like this. Even in multiplication, I can't leave my answer improper. I have to simplify it. Well, to simplify an improper fraction, I just make it a mixed number by division. So when I divide 2 into 45, you guys tell me what that will be. 2 goes into 45 how many times?
24.
24. No, 24 is too big.
Oh,
22. 22 would give me 44.
And 1/2.
Uh-huh. And I have 1 left over, so now that's going to be 1 over 2 to make the mixed number. So my mixed number is going to be 22 and a half. 22 and a half when I divide it. Okay? So that's the first example of using keep, switch, and flip. Here's another one. I have 2 mixed numbers this time. So the first step is to make any whole numbers and any mixed numbers improper. So we need to make these 2 mixed numbers improper first. So 3 and 3/4 becomes 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15, so that'll be 15 over 4. And then this one is going to be 3 over 2. So let's rewrite it. 15 over 4 divided by 3 over 2. That's the first step. 15 over 4 divided by 3 over 2.
Multiply.
Well, we're going to do multiply in just a minute.
Yeah.
So we're going to do keep, switch, and flip. Keep the first fraction. So 15 over 4 stays the same. Keep, switch, and flip. Switch the operation to multiplication. And then, what's the inverse of 3 over 2?
Flip.
What would it be?
2/3.
2/3. Okay, now I've got 2/3 and I have my multiplication statement set up. Now let's see if we can cancel. Step 3 is to see if we can cancel anything before we multiply. Can I cancel?
Yeah.
What?
15, 3,
I could do 15 and 3
and 5, 1, and 4, 2.
4 and 2. Okay,
1.
so I did 4 and 2 first. 2 goes into 4 2 times. 2 goes into 2 one time. 3 goes into 15 5 times, and 3 goes into 3 one time. Can I cancel anything else that you see here, top and bottom by the same factor?
5.
No, that's it.
No, 2 won't go into 5 evenly. So on top, I'm going to have 5, and on the bottom, I'm going to have 2 because there's nothing else I can cancel. Now, what is the mixed simplified fraction for 5 over 2?
2 and 1.
2.5. Any questions about that process? All 5 steps. You got it? Okay. Keep, switch, flip. Keep, switch, flip. So anytime you see a division fraction problem, you need to keep, switch, and flip it. Let's do some more examples. Make sure you guys got it. You guys try these 2. Try these 2 and tell me your answers. You.
Okay.
You do.
Keep.
Key, switch, flip.
Yeah.
24.
The top one is 24.
Yeah.
Okay? So we'll have 12 over 1 times 2 over 1 gives me 24. Okay, what about this one?
Okay, mix.
Make it proper. And then keep, switch, and flip.
8 4/3.
8.
7. 8.
You did get 8? Okay. I got 7.
7.
Yeah.
7.
Okay, so let's go over that one since you
Four.
didn't get it. Okay, this becomes 7 over 4. Did you have 7 over 4?
4.
Divided by
7
1/4.
Same.
Keep, switch, and flip. So you have 7 over 4
7.
times 4 over 1. The 4's cancel out, and you have 7 over 1, which is 7. Did you just add 4 and 4 or something in your head?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I flipped and added 3. I put the 3 underneath the 7. Oops.
Okay, so those are the
I
first
got
2
it.
you guys got. Okay, let's do another set just to make sure you guys got it.
Okay.
So you guys try this. Try this one. So on top you got 2.
Yeah.
I did not get 2.
I got 1 and 1/5. Oh.
Yeah, 1 and 1/5. Okay, so you have 4/5 divided by 2/3. Keep, switch, flip. The 2/3 becomes 3 over 2. Did you forget to switch?
I understand and just I 4 and 2 and just continue.
Yeah, but it's 4
Yeah.
times 3 is
Yeah.
12,
Yeah.
and 5 times 2 is 10 if you didn't reduce them and cancel them. Then once you cancel, you're going to get 1 and 1/5.
I just
Okay, so let me see what you had done.
and just 4 and just 2 and just 1.
Okay.
5.
No.
Yeah.
What's 2 times 3?
6.
That's where you made your mistake. Now, she gives a really good example of what your brain does.
Yeah.
Because multiplication is a series of addition, sometimes your brain wants to add them instead
I
of
did that
multiply. And that's what happened. Okay?
I did that yesterday.
Yeah. So make sure your brain is multiplying and not adding. Okay? But that's what happened. So try the next one. Try this next one here.
4 and 3/8.
So you got 5 over 2 divided by 4/7, and then you kept, switched, and flipped. And what did you get?
4 and 3/8.
4 and 3/8. That's what I got too. Is that what you got? Okay. So 5 over 2 divided by 4 over 7, keep, switch, and flip. That gives you 35 over 8, and then when you divide that to make it a mixed number, you're going to get 4 and 3/8. Okay, try this one. Now, I want a perfect score here.
Oh,
Okay, well, I want you guys to get both of these right. All right.
One and one fourth.
For this first one,
Page 4.
1 1/4, that's what I got. I'll try the second one.
1 1/4.
Oh, you got that too? All right. Try the second one. Keep, switch, and flip.
12.
What a lot of people do wrong is they forget to flip. You got 12 for the second one? Okay, that's what I got. So a lot of people forget the switching, so make sure that you're doing the keep, the switch, and the flip. And try not to do any cancellation until you have a multiplication problem, because you can't do cancellation unless it's a multiplication problem, okay? Now, let's go to your packets and see what you have to do for practice. First page is just a summary of the keep, switch, and flip. This a little bit better here. So this is just a summary. Like I said, page 2 shows you the 5 steps to solving a division of fractions problem using keep, switch, and flip. And your first exercise starts on page 3. So on these, you're going to do, these are going to be short, quick ones. You're going to just do keep, switch, and flip and solve. Let's just do the first one together. I always like to just go keep, switch, and flip like this. Keep the first fraction, switch the operation, and flip the second fraction. And then I cancel. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice, and I get 2/3. Did you guys get 2/3 for the first one?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, on the second one, I would go keep, switch, and flip to remind myself of the strategy. I go, first one is keep, switch that operation to multiplication, and flip the second fraction. Then if I can cancel, I cancel. 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 8 twice. 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 4 twice. That leaves me with 2/1, which is equal to 2. So you should get 2 for the second one. Okay, keep, switch, and flip again. 7/14 times 7/4. I can cancel the 7s. The 7 is 1, this 7 is going to be 2, and I can't cancel anything else. Top and bottom by the same factor. So that leaves me with 7/8. And that's as low as I can go. Okay? Were there any questions on page 3? Nope. Pretty easy? Okay. All right, on page 4, you're going to have a couple of mixed numbers and whole numbers involved. The process is still the same. So on number 1, we're going to make the 2 improper. That's the first step. Then we're going to do keep, switch, and flip. Take 7/8 times 1/2. This becomes 7/16, and I can't cancel it. On problem number 7, right next to it, we can use that as an example. This becomes 3/2 divided by 11/20. Then I'm going to keep, switch, and flip. I get 3/2 times 20/11. I'm going to cancel out the 2 and the 20 by 2. This gives me 30/11. Now when I divide 11 into 30, that goes 2 times 22, which is an 8. So I'm going to get 2 8/11. 2 and 8/11. Are there any questions on page 4? Nope. Okay, you guys got it, huh? Now, page 5 is some yum-yums, word problems. And I want you to keep in mind with the yum-yums, when you're setting these up, remember, in the word problem, the whole comes first, then your part. So when you're reading the problem, you need to say, okay, what's the thing that's being broken up? What's the big whole or total? Put that first. And then, what's the grouping part that I need? What groups do I need to break it into? Let's maybe set up one of these problems so you guys can see how to do that. But look at those examples. There's just some pretty good examples of how you would do it. Okay, let's start with number 1 here. Write in lowest terms. Any of your answers need to be in lowest terms. Okay, so company XYZ had 23 directory assistance calls on their phone bill. The total time for the calls was 34 and a half minutes. What was the average length of each call? Now, average and each are clue words for division. Okay? So, they want that length of each call. Well, what should come first?
23.
Nope, not 23. 23 is the number of calls.
34.
Length is at 34 and a half minutes. So you need to set this up as 34 and a half divided by 23, because you're going to be dividing it by the number of calls. So if you don't set these up right, you're going to get really freaky answers. 34 and a half divided by 23, what's the improper fraction for 34 and a half? We're going to take 34 times 2, which is 68, and then we're going to add 1 to it, 69. So this becomes 69 over 2 divided by 23 over 1, because we still have to make the whole number improper as well. Keep, switch, and flip. Keep the first fraction and switch the operation and flip the second fraction over. Can I cancel? 23 goes into 23 once, and how many times does 23 go into 69? 3 times. That leaves me with 3 over 2. When I reduce it, it's 1 and a half. And then to answer this question, you need to say 1 and a half minutes per call. Because the 34 is the minutes, that's what you're breaking up. So your answer needs to be 1 and a half minutes.
There ain't one of those 3-step, 4-part ones.
Well, first you need to read the problem and set it up, and then you have 5 steps. The 5 steps is the division steps.
No, the other one had the multiplication and division and adding. The one that
that was on the quiz though, right?
Oh, that's right.
Okay. So you guys need to start working on these, and then let me know if you get stuck on any.
Okay.
All right? If you get stuck on any, it'll probably won't be until you get to the word problems. But work on the packet. Let me know which ones you need me to do for you. Now, don't forget this last page. The activity I want you to do is here. You go to that website and do that little quiz and tell me what your score is. It's required. It's not optional. And then you need to go to Canvas and do your assessment for this topic. If you need some more instruction, you can go to the topic that's up here to our Moodle class, okay? if you need more instruction. Then tonight, I'd like you to read over how to do addition of fractions. I can tell you that addition and subtraction of fractions have more work to them. That's why I teach this kind of out of order. I do the multiplication and division just because it's easier than addition and subtraction. Because with addition and subtraction, you have to get a least common denominator before you can do anything. So it's got a few more steps.
That's actually pretty good, Ms. because it's a good thing you did, we just did it, not fractions, multiplication. Oh, greatest common factor.
Yeah, and least common, yeah. So when we did all those concepts that had to do with fractions, I gave you some of that to actually look at because you're going to need it, you know? You are going to need it. Now, one other thing I want to bring to your attention is when you go to your online Canvas shell, at the end of this week, and if you didn't do the one from last week and the week before, you need to do them as well. At the end of the week, you guys will see these little weekly assignments, and some of them are handouts that you can just print, and some of them I've given you the instruction. You need to answer the question and just post your answer out on the class board. So since tomorrow is book check, I'm going to be looking for weekly assignment. I think a lot of you already did. Week 1 and week 2, but I'm not sure about 3 and 4. This is week 5, so this one needs to be done by next Tuesday. Okay? So on week 5 is this earnings statement. You will read through the earnings statement. Most of it has to do with reading and writing decimals or whole numbers. And there is one little percent question there. So you'll do all the reading and the vocabulary. And then there's several questions on page 2 that need to be answered. These answers, go ahead and write them on your paper. You need to put this in your binder. But one of the additional requirements is that these answers be posted online so you can see what other students had come up with when they did it. Okay? So that's a good way for you to check your answers as well. This is something that needs to be done over the weekend or Monday. You can do it Monday too. So this is like one of those assignments where you don't see me, but you have to do it. So make sure you've been doing those weekly assignments. You should be up to week 4. Weekly assignment 1, 2, 3, and 4. A couple of them were playing games, and then you tell me what your score was, and you just post it out there. So a couple of you have not done that, so I want you to be sure to do them. Every week you have one of these because you don't see me Monday and Friday.
So when we took those on there, I was supposed to put them on that little Padlet wall?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
so you click where it says class wall, and then you post your answer. Because I have to give you credit. I think you get 5 or 10 points for doing that. So that's part of the grade, okay? So I just wanted to bring that to your attention and print this one out for you so you don't have to print it out, okay? All right, any other questions about what's due this week? Okay, so tomorrow we will be working on adding.
Do you have any more handouts for scientific notation?
I should in the bin. If I have it in the, if I don't have it, let me know and I can print one out for you.
Please.
And Jen came by, she's sick, and so I just gave her the assignment. She's really sick.